I'd like to call to order the regular scheduled board meeting of the Parish Union School District number 95 Board of Education for April the 8th, 2019. Let the record show that all members are present. John Sanchez will be a few minutes late. With that, we'll move into audience to visitors.
Okay, we have a few people tonight here just to talk. So we'll start off with our youngest person. So Josh Griffith, if you want to come forward. Joshua Griffith. So last year we had a board committee where we actually talked about extending extracurricular activities for kids. And so we talked about that. Josh, can you talk a little bit about what you did this weekend?
Well, I went to
What grade are you in?
fifth.
Fifth. And what did you do this weekend?
I go to state.
How many fifth grade boys were at the tournament?
Three.
There were only 3 fifth grade boys. Was it a big packed bowling alley?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and how old were some of the older? What was the oldest age level there? 8th grade. Okay, 8th grade. How did you do?
Good.
Yeah, you did really well. So Josh Griffith here, this young man, he knocked down more pins than any other kid in Paris, Illinois. So I invited him to come here tonight. We bowled 3 games, and so he's our first kid, one of our first students, athletes in all of Paris, Illinois history to ever go to a IESA tournament in bowling, and he knocked down more bowling pins than any other kid that went with us. So I invited him to come here tonight. He's in 5th grade, was playing next to 8th grade boys, taller and bigger than I was, and he was knocking them down and showing it, and I am ready for Josh to go to state next year because you're going to do it, right? So,
Right now.
come on, Josh. Okay, so Josh is in 5th grade, so because of the Board of Education, you can go ahead and sit down. Because the Board of Education had a committee meeting and talked about that, that's an extra activity that we've never had before. We also have with us our next one, which is Eli Brinkerhoff. So Eli, what grade are you in?
6th.
And what did you participate in this
I
year?
participated in a chess tournament.
Okay, and where was that held at? Do you remember what town?
Peoria.
Peoria, okay. And Eli won more games than anyone else at chess, and it was brand new to us, right? And it was tough. There was some tough competition. I told them there was lots of NASA hoodies and khakis there. So it was extremely tough. And so Eli was actually our only player who actually won a match against another school. And so we're very proud of him for that. It was a really exciting time. And again, first kids in Paris, Illinois to ever go to a state chess tournament. And Eli was our most winningest student there. And so we're just so thankful to have him. So, Josh and Eli, you guys have anything you want to say? What do you think about it? Do you have any advice for any of the kids that go next year and play bowling?
Probably good as you can.
Just do as good as they can. What about you? Do you have anything you want to say, Eli?
I would say that I would kind of like it if they did a chess club, because some kids weren't super experienced in chess. So if they got a little bit more practice in before the tournament.
Because there were a few things that morning we figured out, and I started sweating, didn't I? Like I didn't know they were doing clocks and annotation, but we figured it out.
Where was the tournament?
I was in Peoria.
Oh, in Peoria. Okay.
And then, do you remember where bowling was?
Bloomington.
Yeah, Bloomington. Were there a lot of kids there for chess?
There was a lot.
Try to describe what the room looked like.
It was a giant, big open room, and then it was divided into 3 sections of long rows of tables, and each row had a number at it, and you were given your number, and then so you went and you sat down at a table. It was divided into 6th grade, 7th grade, and then 8th grade down at the other end, and then I just went to the 6th grade table and started playing.
If you had to estimate how many kids were in the room competing for chess, how many? Just a good guess.
over 500 probably.
Yeah, it was insane. So it was in a big hotel room, conference room in the Civic Center, and it was the craziest thing I ever saw. So, I feel good that our Board of Education was able to provide opportunities for kids that we hadn't been able to afford to do before, so I'm thankful for that. And then I also just want to give a special thank you to Mr. Shea and Mr. Roberts who put this together. It was one of the things that I really wanted to see happen as a principal. I am not the principal this year, and I can tell you Mr. Shea, and as embarrassing as Mr. Roberts doesn't want to admit, I can tell you that, because he never thought chess would be his thing, but I can tell you, they did all the work behind the scenes, made it really easy for these kids. So I just want to give Mr. Shea and Mr. Roberts a round of applause for this. We have two administrators who regularly work to give kids more opportunities. We also have with us here tonight our next older students. So we've had elementary, Josh, middle school, Eli. Now we have one who is very special and actually just really kind of hits my heart, and that's Frank Lee. You want to come on up, Frank? Okay. Frank is a student who is the Paris Alternative Learning Site, and so he just recently graduated. Frank, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 19 years old. I live on my own, full-time Cranium.
How many hours a week do you work at Cranium?
It differs, sometimes 38 and then 48, plus overtime if I want it.
Were you working and going to school at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, and you live on your own?
Yes.
Pay your own rent?
Yep.
Have your own car?
Yes.
Yeah, you pay for that yourself?
Yes.
And you did all that going to school?
Yep.
Were there times you were working 12-hour shifts and then you were still coming to school early in the morning, getting off at 8 and then coming in at 8:30
Yes.
just to hurry up and get done?
Go and go sleep.
Frank is awesome. So we also have Mr. Hollis here. Mr. Hollis is the man who worked with them to make things happen. Mr. Hollis, you want to stand up? And then Mick actually subbed for Mr. Hollis today, and Frank was one of the students he got to really know. And he came back and told me how helpful Frank was on his day, just being able to explain things. So I just think it's amazing that we can give kids that type of an opportunity. So Mr. Hollis, can we come up here, and Mrs. Carroll's going to take the picture of Frank?
Can I ask what does it mean to you to be able to get your diploma this way?
I mean, be able to go out and have a job.
So you'll be able to get a better job?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations. And then we have one more presentation, and that presentation, so we went elementary, middle school, high school. It's also really important that we're supporting our teachers on a regular basis. And so we had over 20 new teachers in our district this last year, which weighs heavily on your principals. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. So we partnered with Stephanie Schmidt. Stephanie, if you want to come up and just kind of talk about it. Stephanie is one of our experienced teachers who is just really passionate about supporting younger teachers. And then we also have Kim Down. So Kim, if you want to stand. And Kim is a new teacher to our district. She's actually worked at Arthur before. She teaches 8th grade language arts in Corey Brenner's position. And I'm just going to have Stephanie talk about what her role was and what it looked like. And then I'm going to have Kim talk about what her experience was.
I made a couple notes so I didn't forget anything. I just, without getting too emotional, I just want to say that I'm very thankful to be a part of District 95, especially stories like Frank. And last month when I was here, a former student. I really love my job. We have a great new principal with a lot of positivity and encouragement. And so when Dr. Larson asked if I would help mentor the new teachers, I was very eager to do so. New teachers have one-on-one mentors, and Dr. Larson just asked if I would kind of help him with any other, if they needed counseling, if they needed help with any questions, if they needed somebody to go to, because sometimes your one-on-one mentor, maybe they're busy or there's other things going on. So Dr. Larson set up meetings with all sorts of curriculum, behavior, all sorts of things that new teachers would need to know. And I also made monthly contact with them, whether it was a note of encouragement or a little gift of some sort, checked in just to make sure everything was going well. Just another person to be there for the new teachers.
Okay, so I'd like to start out by saying thank you for the opportunity to work at 95. I really love it here. I taught for 11 years in my old district, and to be honest, I was at the point where I was ready to quit teaching because I was so unhappy. And so I came here, and I absolutely love working in District 95. Mr. Shea has been awesome to work with. He is always there to listen if I have questions or have anything to ask him about. Mindy Wooten was my mentor this year, and she was fantastic. I'm so glad that I got to work with Mindy, but also like other teachers in the 8th grade team helped me a lot. Just to kind of learn the routines at Mayo and kind of figuring out my way. The mentor program and the new teacher program was really helpful because we had meetings once a month, and a lot of it was stuff that new teachers may not be aware of, but also just kind of the way that things run in the district. Parent-teacher conferences were a lot different here than in my old district. So being able to kind of see what that looked like before we actually got into it was nice, and to meet with the new teachers and some veteran teachers about that was really helpful.
Do you feel like Paris 95, whether it's academically or behaviorally, has some really high expectations?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as a new teacher, you felt supported in accomplishing those?
Yes. I will say that at my old school I did a lot of discipline because that's what they needed there, and I don't feel like I have to do as much discipline because the kids know the expectations. And I know I teach 8th graders and they already know those expectations, but they can. I feel like I've been really lucky because they know what's expected. They know what the consequence is going to be if they don't meet those expectations. So.
Stephanie Schmidt is not nearly bragging on herself enough either. Stephanie went out of her way to do a special, she is the one who did a special activity for all the new teachers every single month. Something special, like in their mailbox, like just, you know, how much we really appreciate you with like a little, you know, pack of gum or candy bars, thing of markers, you know, Starburst, and it really makes teachers feel more welcome. And I just want to reiterate one more time that from our perspective, what happens is so many times the teachers might not always feel most comfortable to come to me or their principal or their mentor. We even had an extra person. That's just because you got to remember there were over 20 people, and so we just had to make sure that we could do that. So I thank them. Thank you both very much. We do have one more presentation I forgot. I apologize. This one's actually a really special one for Paris 95 as well. It's Amy Payne. Amy Payne's going to talk a little bit about adapted PE.
We've been approached to do adaptive PE in our program. We had a meeting last week, and I feel very confident that we will be able to handle this task. And I appreciate Mr. Shea, who got it all together. He's done all the legwork, I believe. And so we had a meeting last week and went over what our expectations are as PE teachers. So it will be a new role for me, but the kids are already in my classroom, so I will spend some extra minutes outside of their regular PE class to help them with the adaptive PE also.
So just to make sure everyone understands, Mr. Shea worked with all of the PE department to go get their adapted PE endorsement. They added an entirely new endorsement onto their teaching license. We were sending money over to Matt Toon every single month for the entire year for them to hire a teacher that we were paying gas, paying mileage, paying all that time to come over here to meet with kids, and the kid would have access to them, 20 minutes every 2 weeks or something, maybe every week. Yeah, 20 minutes. And these are kids that are like, they might be in a wheelchair, have some type of developmental disability, just to like interact with a licensed adapted PE teacher. We now as a district have all of our PE teachers licensed with adapted PE, even Sean Nugent as well. And so it's really just a great thing. And Mr. Shea was able to come in and do training with them, walk them through the IEPs. And so rather than shipping dollars over to Matt Toon and a kid only having access, a disabled child only having access to their PE teacher 20 minutes a week, they will now have that access all week long. So I just really appreciate Amy Payne and all the PE teachers taking that extra leap and doing all the extra work. I really appreciate Mr. Shea leading this entire effort because PE is not my background, and so I'm just so proud of him for getting everyone licensed and doing all the work on this. That ends all of the audience to visitor presentation, so if you want to leave, you're welcome to leave. If you want to stay for the rest of the board meeting, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the board meeting. I am not offended if you leave. I would leave if I were you, but it's up to you.
Dr. Larson,
Yeah.
how many have we had graduating from the alternative?
Hey Josh, how many kids are we up to? 13?
Graduated?
Thank you.
15.
15.
Right.
And how many students,
It's
Josh?
a pleasure to have Franklin. We actually had 2 kids graduate over the weekend.
Yeah.
Joe and Roy and Ben Young did their work from home. They emailed me that long test and everything all over the weekend. And they finished the last class. We have 2 more kids. We're up to 15 now.
And then what about, how many students are in the program? Are we at 30, 32? We're somewhere in that neighborhood have totally enrolled.
You should have asked me that question when I had my file.
Sorry.
We're over 30.
Yeah.
We have to be over 30.
Yeah. Wait, I appreciate it, Josh. Thank you for coming out.
Pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Wow.
A
Okay,
lot of good things going on in our district.
Yeah.
any other audience to visitors or comments? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any questions? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
No votes yes. Move to the secretary's report.
We have none tonight.
Okay. And with that, we'll move to the superintendent's agenda.
Okay, we have a long agenda this evening. Our first one is to approve the first reading of the strategic plan. The district hosted a community meeting on March 20th, and again, we will on April 10th, this Thursday, to collect community input into a district strategic plan. The plan is enclosed for your review. I'm asking the Board of Education to conduct the first reading of this plan this evening, and then we would formally adopt the plan in May. So I just want to explain the way that this will work is, we are presenting it for the first time ever tonight. Nancy Zeman will receive a copy, okay? Then, they're putting it on public display for everyone to give us their comment. This Thursday night, they will walk in, the administrators, or this Wednesday, I apologize, April 10th, this Wednesday. They will walk in, I'm so sorry, I'm ready for spring break. So this Wednesday, they will walk in, they will receive a copy of the plan, they will receive a red pen. They will be able to mark it up. We also put it online for people who can't come. They will email any of their public comment. We will then recognize the updated plan at the reorganization meeting that we have. Then in May, we will formally adopt the plan. So nothing is final, we are just making it public notice as of today. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the first reading of the strategic plan.
Motion made.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of the strategic plan. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay, next is non-certified salaries. The Finance Committee met this past month to review non-certified salaries. Enclosed is a copy of the salaries discussed by the Finance Committee. This evening, I am asking the Board of Education to formally approve the salaries as outlined. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the non-certified salaries.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the non-certified salaries. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Okay. Cindy Mathis and I went to an EASY meeting a couple weeks ago, and they talked about how they're gonna have to change the intergovernmental agreement. Basically, the way it worked was the federal government was sending money to EASY, EASY was then flowing through the money to us. it's not just Paris 95, it's every school district in the cooperative. That can no longer happen due to auditing purposes at the state level, so the federal dollars have to flow directly to the district then pays Easy for the services. Easy doesn't get to take out their money and then give us what's left over for auditing purposes. In order to do this, we have to amend the intergovernmental agreement with Easy. So each district has to vote on it. We went to vote on it that night. Cindy and I were in attendance. They didn't have a quorum there, so now it goes back to every district have to do individual votes. So good for us for showing up, Cindy. So at this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the Easy agreement to allow funds to go directly to Paris 95.
So
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Easy agreement to allow funds to go directly to the Paris 95, and then we'll flow it out. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Idle,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No for yes.
Next is the school calendar. Enclosed a copy of the school calendar. I also have a color copy. I apologize about that. This evening, I asked the Board of Education to approve the school calendar for the 1920 school year. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the school calendar.
So moved. Sorry.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2019 to 2020 school calendar. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No for yes.
Okay, next is the policy committee. The policy committee met, Amy Istuff and I were present, and so we reviewed the policies. I'm gonna read over the policy numbers just because I think it's important. So we have 220 powers, and everything that I have as extra copies I have here on the table tonight, anyone can feel free to grab. 220 powers and duties of the school board indemnification, 430 revenue and investments, 4100 insurance management, 4110 transportation. We also have 4190 targeted school violence prevention program, 5250 leave of absence, 5330 sick days, vacation, holidays, and leave, 615 school accountability, 6185 remote educational program, and that is it. I do want to talk about a few of these. When we're talking about leaves of absence, sick days, vacation, holidays, when we're talking about people's benefits, I know everyone always wants to know exactly what that's referring to. They changed the registered nurse to advanced practitioner nurse. So that's the only difference, is before you could just have a registered nurse do things. Now you have to have an advanced practitioner nurse who certifies things. In reference to transportation, it used to be that for a mile and a half, or if there was a hazard, you could give kid transportation. Now if there's criminal activity as well, you can get reimbursed from the state. So if you can say there's some type of criminal activity, you can go pick that kid up and do that. So traditionally, that's gang activity is what they're referring to. Another one that I want to draw everyone's attention to, which is a brand new policy, is 4190 targeted school violence prevention program. And that's a brand new policy we've never had before. That's your threat assessment. So we've been dealing with stuff like, for example, at the high school with threats. We had, threats at Mayo Middle School before. That policy outlines that we just have a program that educates, which I feel really good because the administrators, I made them all give up an entire evening and do meeting after meeting with the public to talk about a very sensitive topic that a lot of administrators wouldn't want to put themselves out there to deal with. So I think we're ahead of the curve. So at this time, I ask the board to approve the first reading of these policies.
So made.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of the policies that's been outlined by Dr. Larson. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No for yes.
Next is the adapted PE budget. 5 Paris 95 employees have become licensed adapted PE teachers. Currently, Paris 95 receives adapted PE services from EASY. With our teachers now being licensed, we can keep our services local. Federal requirements force us to demonstrate maintenance of efforts, MOE, that will not allow us to find a cost saving. So you can't just say, well, now we're licensed, we don't have to spend the money, because the whole purpose is grants are supposed to supplement, not supplant, and so you have to show that you are using that money. And let's see. Find a cost. Tonight I recommend the Board of Education adopt a $14,000 adapted PE budget to keep services local for our students with disabilities and pay staff locally. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the adapted PE budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the adapted PE budget. Any discussion?
Where does the 14,000 go
It'll go into salaries
for all the
for all
people?
the adapted PE teachers. And right now, you're paying the salary of a teacher over in that team and their mileage.
So that'll be split among them? Is that how you're
It'll
gonna
be
do that?
something that I'm gonna have to sit down and figure out how we're gonna do it. So, specifically, like I know over at the middle school, they'll have to do it during their prep periods. And so it'll be something that I'll have to go through and calculate out. Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
no full is yes.
Okay, next is a retirement request. Dan Gates has submitted his letter of retirement based upon the 3% memorandum of understanding. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the retirement request
Effective when?
in 4 years.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the retirement request. Any discussion?
His extracurricular will not cause us to get into the penalty.
That is correct. He's locked. That's correct, yeah.
So if you take his salary, which includes his regular salary plus his Schedule A salary,
What it
that's
does
his
is,
base salary, does he get 3% of that?
so the way it works for everyone is that when you go into a retirement, it's every dollar that you made in the district, every dollar is considered TRS credible earnings. So for example, let's say I'm a basketball coach, you take my base salary plus any additional dollars I made, because you had to pay TRS on top of that. You lock all of that, you times that by 0.103, it's locked. If you get additional duties, you can't get paid for those extra duties. Because you agreed to go into this.
So the 3% is on total
Total T-
compensation, not salary.
Total TRS credible earnings, so base salary plus any additional stipends. Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
no full is yes.
Okay, next is handbooks. Enclosed in your packet are the following handbooks: certified employees, non-certified employees, athletic elementary students, middle school students, and volunteers. Copies are on the table. I also have an insert that goes through the different changes. Most of our changes are just minor changes. One of the things I do always like to note on this is that if staff are enclosed, we do update staff or dates as they go on. So, for example, if someone resigns, we are going to update that within there. Let's see. Like, for example, in the elementary school handbook, they updated the pickup and drop-off times. Non-certified, certified, volunteer are all based on board policies. The athletic handbook did not have any changes. Mayo Middle School handbook, they clarified the 8th grade trip eligibility. Also, one of the things I want to add tonight to the Mayo Middle School handbook as well as to the elementary school handbook is a reference into smartwatches. And so I do want to reference that smartwatches are not going to be allowed because we have kids making phone calls during class or in the bathroom. And so smartwatches. And then the other thing is I do want to make clear, they did make changes to the handbooks, but it's like grammatical errors. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, or maybe what it's called was updated. So. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the handbooks.
We have a motion and a second to approve the handbooks for the 2019-2020 school year. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Idle,
Yes.
Isaac,
Yes.
no full is yes.
Okay, next is our risk management plan. Annually, the Board of Education is required to approve the risk management plan. This plan outlines the appropriate expenses of the tort fund. There are no changes. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the risk management plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the risk management plan. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey. Idle.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No opposed, yes.
I know it's a lot one tonight. Next is the consolidated report. ISB is now requiring a consolidated report stating that the school district will work with at-risk students through Title I, providing services to homeless students, work with families in early childhood, provide services to foster students, and many other services for at-risk children. This report is kept virtually with ISB. I have a 2-page explanation in there for you. So I just want to explain, like, this is basically us agreeing to the Illinois State Board of Education that if we have a kid who is homeless, you will work with that family. If you have a child that's in foster care, you will work with that family. If you have a child that is ESL, English as a second language, you will work to accommodate that family. If you have a child that's in poverty, and the list goes on, it's every at-risk indicator that you can possibly think of. And I will tell you that I saw another school district that had 7 staff that worked on this all together, and I did it by myself. So at this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve this consolidated report. Because it took me a long time.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Paris 95 consolidated report. Any questions or discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey. Idle.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No opposed, yes.
Okay. Next is lunch price. Annually, the Illinois State Board of Education requires the school district to evaluate their lunch prices and set them based upon state guidelines. The price annually goes up by 10 cents. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the lunch price.
Of.
I couldn't tell you, do you?
It'll be $2.65.
It's
What?
It'll be $2.65.
Thank you.
Okay.
So moved. Second.
Did we increase this last year?
What?
Did we increase this last year?
Yeah. Every year we're expecting better. Yeah.
Who comes up with the 10 cents?
The federal government. There's a calculator. It's the same thing every year. One of the things, and we're lower than others, one of the things I want to do is I want to fill out an application for the community eligibility provision where every kid eats free. I would like to do that next month. I'm asking for us to do this. If we get that, I have to check the numbers and ask for that to get approved, so then this would override, our next vote would override this one. But we're gonna have, if we don't do the community eligibility provision, we're gonna have to do this. If you wanna table this for another month and talk about the 2 decisions at the same time, you can. But I can tell you, you have to increase every.
Don't you have to do this regardless of?
We're gonna have to do this regardless unless we approve the CEP, which I can tell you the last 3 years that I filled it out, it's been a substantial loss. But I'm working really hard to get our numbers just right that I think this year. It might be a small loss, and then if we can recruit enough kids to eat lunch, you can make up for it. So that was one of the things I wanted to prevent in the next month. It doesn't matter to me what you guys wanna do. I just assume that we approve it tonight, and then we see where the CEP falls, and then that we will know what our lunch price will be for next year. So,
Do you not have to prove it to calculate?
well, that's what I would like to do, is I would like to approve it. I'm gonna put it in as a calculation based on that dollar amount, and then compare the participation rates, So at this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the lunch price.
So moved. Yeah, we already did
Oh, you already did?
We already have.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I apologize.
that.
I-
No, we have 2 motions.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the lunch price at $2.65. Any other questions or discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
No.
Idle.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No opposed, yes.
Okay, next is our food agreements. Paris 95 provides food to Head Start and to Bridges. It's my recommendation to continue the service with the proposed increase. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve our food agreements.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Food agreements with Head Start and Bridges. Any other questions?
What was it?
10 cents less than that, what you see.
And what's that amount to? We deliver food to Head Start comes and picks it up? What?
They come and pick it up. Yeah.
Is that the same with Bridges then?
So we call them. Which building is Head Start? Is that Carolyn Wentz? Carolyn Wentz. So you have all the preschoolers over here. Head Start calls over to Carolyn Wentz. They say, we have X amount of lunches. They just make that many more lunches. Head Start comes, picks it up, brings it over. We call it the same thing is true over at Mayo. Mayo does Bridges. Bridges will call over of a morning. They'll say, we need X amount of lunches. They send people over to go pick it up, and they bring it right back over.
Any other discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Island,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes.
Next is our Section 125 plan. The Section 125 plan outlines how the school district coordinates with providers for employee benefits. The school district is required to have a Section 125 plan, and Bushy has assisted the district with putting together this plan. The basic gist of a Section 125 plan is, I as an employee make X amount of dollars, per month. If I want to subtract those dollars out and put it towards some type of additional insurance, like disability insurance or whatever, they have that right, and then we can take that from their paycheck. We've been doing this, we just haven't had our Section 125 plan updated for a very long time. So we're just basically reaffirming what we're doing through an update. And Bush U, who's our human resource provider, is the one who helped us develop this. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the Section 125 plan.
So made. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Section 125 plan. Is there any questions? If not, please respond. Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Island,
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes. Been a long run.
I know-
Go to the next one.
Okay, our next one is executive session. So before we go into executive session, I do want to go over some informational items. We do have an ISB, Illinois Association of School Board Division dinner coming up on April 30th at 6:30. So let me know if you'd like to attend that. Cindy and Kevin just recently attended the one in Mohammed. So the upcoming one is in Urbana. Just congratulations to our group of students who did ISA bowling and also to our students who did chess. Mayo Middle School had the honor of getting an ISA Scholar Attitude winner, and that is Alyssa Reed. So congratulations to Alyssa Reed for being selected. Board reorganization will happen this month. Not all board members could meet on April 23rd like we had originally discussed, so we'll need to discuss a date and time. The Board of Education needs to begin discussing who they want as officers, who they want to send as board members to the high school, and then we need to determine a date and time to do that reorganization. Okay. The election results from throughout the state were enclosed in your packet, so you can see the different referendums and how they passed. There was a DCFS case against a parent that Mr. Shea was brought into court with, and so was I. And so we were reaffirmed with what we did, and the parent wasn't. So, let's see. We had a realtor meeting where we invited realtors to come in and just tour the schools, and they had a lot of positive things to say. And they were really very complimentary of Mayo. And a lot of times they instantly compare Mayo and Crestwood, and so they have a lot of positive things to say. That ends my informational items. So at this time, I ask the board to go into executive session to discuss the employment, compensation, discipline of employees.
Will you take action when you come back?
We will take action when we come back. And I can't tell you how long it will take.
We have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Will everybody please respond? Mathis,
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Bailey, Island, Ister.
Yes.
No votes yes. We're in the regular session.
Okay. Employment. This evening, I recommend the following in terms of employment. Sean Nugent is the Mayo Middle School PE teacher. Nick Roberts transferred to the alternative learning site. Superintendent Secretary Debbie Ashley, who's here with us this evening. Secretaries Hannah King and Melissa Lynch. Mayo Custodian Lori Black. and I am recommending that all secretaries go on a 6-month probation period. At this time, I ask the Board of Education, and also the custodian goes on a 6-month probation period. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the employment as outlined with the probation periods.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the employment as outlined by Dr. Larson. Any questions? If not, please respond. Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey. Idle.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
No full is yes.
Okay, next is administrator contract. In the fall, the Board of Education approved the FY20 contract renewals for administrators. This evening, I am asking the Board of Education to approve the FY20 salary as discussed by the Finance Committee and as outlined. I am also requesting an FY21 renewal for the principals with the salaries outlined by the enclosed sheet. At this time, I ask the Board of Education to approve the administrator contracts for the FY20 and FY21 schools based upon the outlined salaries enclosed.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the administrator contracts for FY20 and 21. Any discussion? If not, please respond. Mathis.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Idle.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
No full is yes.
That concludes the superintendent's agenda.
Move on to report of committees, public hearings and petitions, unfinished business, matters for follow-up, new business, right to revert to prior order of business, executive session. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So made.
Second. All in favor say aye.